So let's talk about refunds and replacements. It's such an important topic. As a consumer, just in general, I always want to know if I can return something, if something doesn't breaks, am I going to get a refund? It's very important to know. And especially when it comes to DIY and your flowers, it's important to know what that company will do, what they stand behind, what they guarantee, what they don't. And we have it in our terms, our FAQs, and then if you order, we send you an order confirmation with that information again. But it's easy to miss it, so I wanted to make a video of just talking through the scenarios of where we would replace and refund and where we wouldn't. So first, I want you to know that we're always on your side. I want this to be a very successful experience for you. I want it to be fun. I want you to walk away and have good things to say about my company because I have worked at it since 2014 and I very, very much care about the outcome of your wedding, and I care about our reputation. And I've been self-employed in the wedding industry since 2007, and you won't stay successfully self-employed in the wedding industry if you do not honor your contracts, if you don't walk in integrity, and it's something that's very, very important to me. So let's talk about what happens if a flower bites the dust. And it's not a common thing, but as we know, when we're dealing with live product, fresh product, sensitive things, things happen. They can die, and you're probably asking, well, what are you going to do if that happens? So let's walk through those scenarios. The most important thing to know is that we always need to know as soon as possible so we can fix it. So a lot of times with flowers, any issue often presents itself when you unwrap it. And just to touch on why flowers bite the dust, oftentimes I find that maybe they were packed wet at the farm. So if it was after a rain and they cut the flowers and they didn't dry them well enough and they packed them, they're encased in a plastic sleeve, they're shipped into the US, they're gassed when they're coming through customs. And if it's wet, then it starts to break down the stems. And so when I look in the sleeve, the flowers look amazing, and then I take off the wrapping and they just fall apart, and I instantly know I have an issue. So not common, but that's one of the occurrences. It can get compromised during transit, whether it's, the box is dropped and maybe one bunch gets crushed, or it's left on the dock and it's too hot or too cold. So shit happens when it comes to fresh flowers, and it's our job to fix it in case the unlikely chance that something does happen, and it's your job to let us know, because I can't fix what I don't know about. When I say I mean myself and the team. So let's talk about what will happen. Let's say you get your flowers and something immediately bites the dust, or let's say everything looks great when you get them and then the next day you come in and something's struggling. What I want you to do is take pictures immediately and email us. I want you to take an up close photo. I want you to take a picture of the bunch as a whole, and I want you to email it to us. Also, we're going to ask for you to take pictures of everything else, and that is just to get a second eye on it. So if something was compromised during transit, if I'm sending you out a replacement, I want to identify if I notice any other flowers that I feel like are struggling. Because I've been in florals for 12 years, and I know instantly when I look at something like, oh, that just needs to hydrate, that's fine, or no, that's struggling. So let us know. If it's one bunch of something and you're like, hey, I don't really need a replacement, then I'm just going to issue a refund. Most of the time, I always like to send replacements because I feel like you still need that volume of flowers to complete your design, but not always. So it will kind of be left to individual cases. As far as, let's talk about scenarios where we would not refund. So we do talk about how you do need to expect about a 5% loss. As a florist, when I get my flowers, most of the time I don't lose anything, but it's not uncommon to have a few blooms bite the dust or to break a few. So if you lose a few blooms, like one or two, or, depending on the size of your order, that's just a natural part of being your own florist. But let's say that maybe a bunch dies and you don't let us know until a week later, we're not going to issue a refund. We have to know when you have your flowers and you have to send pictures. So if you want to blow it off and not worry about it, you can't come back a week or two or a month later and say, hey, this one flower that I ordered didn't survive, so please send a refund. That's not the way it works. And when you take on the role of being your own florist, you have to be proactive. We're not going to make you jump through hoops. We just need some pictures and we need to know about it. Secondly, for color and size variation, we talk about this throughout the site. Every other company talks about this. Because it's a product of Mother Nature, it's not man-made, it's not silk flowers. Week by week, there's variation. And so we take our photos in-house because I really want good representation of what I see on the weekly. And especially like when it comes to accent flowers, those are typically the ones that have the most variations, like peonies, ranunculus, sometimes anemones. There will be just variations because they're a more delicate bloom. We talk about that on the website. Carnations, roses, those tend to be pretty standard and predictable. But size variation, color shade variation, that's not something that will qualify for a refund. And that doesn't mean if you order light pink ranunculus and we send you burgundy, we're not gonna say, oh, that's just a color variation. We know that's not true. But if you're hoping for blush and you get a light pink, then that's a color variation that we would not refund for. Let's talk about the individual nature of the product themselves. So on Flower Moxie, if you've spent any time on our site versus other sites, we're very, very specific when it comes to the nature of the flower. And the reason is the founder, which is me, I've been a florist for 12 years and my hands have been in these flowers every week. So I know I know like their tendencies. I know that like throughout the year, seeded eucalyptus, its seed size can change. And that's really important to know. And on each product, we talk about the pros and the cons. And we've spent hours doing that and putting this information out there so it's not some generic blanket statement. So if we've talked about the fact that, let's say, for instance, ranunculus are curvy, and if you don't like the curve, then you can wire them. Let's see, what are some other ones? Veronica has a slight curve. Lisianthus has open and closed buds. So if it's something that we've talked about on the website and that we've addressed is like, hey, here's the nature of this flower, that would be something that we wouldn't issue a refund for. I have one bad review out there where a lady got ranunculus and they were curved. They were absolutely beautiful and she wanted a refund because they were curved. Well, we talk about it on the website. We even have a video of showing if you want it to be straight, how to fix it. And we didn't issue a refund for that. She still gave a bad review, and it's just part of life, part of business. It definitely makes me sad, but it's part of trying to educate our customers so they have the best experience possible. But again, I just want to reiterate, anytime anything is in question, anytime you're just unsure, snap some pictures and send it to us. We'll be able to look and correct the issue. And just know again that we're on your side. We want you to win and we want this to be the best experience and we want you to walk away having nothing but good things to say about your flowers and about our company. So if you have any questions or you want to run any scenarios by us, or if you're just nervous, then feel free to reach out because that's what we're here for. And we're excited to help you with this DIY process.